The question is, what is the mission of Adizese Institute? It started many years ago. Would you believe it? 50 years ago. I was a professor at UCLA, and I was asked to do some consulting because I was a professor of business. Normal that somebody will ask you to consult. To make a long story short, I studied the problem, big professor, and I wrote a report and submitted it. And the president agreed with me and congratulated me, and he paid me for my services. And then nothing happened. And I was very disappointed. I was shocked. How come he's not implementing it? Then the next company, they implemented it, but badly. When it happened the third time, I was really, truly depressed. I felt that I'm a fake, I'm an imposter, I'm teaching something that is not worthy, because when I try to apply it, it gets rejected. So who am I? What am I teaching? Then I talked to somebody from McKinsey and asked him, what happens with your recommendations? And he laughed in my face. And he said, welcome to the club. Most recommendations of consultants do not get implemented, or they get implemented badly. So welcome. I said, wait a minute. There is a problem here. Implementation. The decisions are good, but there is a problem in implementation. Then I looked at the curriculum of the business school at UCLA, not one course on implementation. All courses are on decision making. How to make good financial decisions, marketing decisions, production decisions, human resources decisions, decisions. How to implement. The assumption being, if you make a good decision, it will be implemented. What's wrong with it? You made a good decision, automatically it will be implemented because it's a good decision. Then I looked at Stanford when I was a visiting professor. Not one course on implementation. I looked at Columbia University where I was visiting. No one course on implementation. I said, wait a minute. There is a problem. And then I realized there is a problem not only in business, in people going on a diet. How many times have we decided to go on a diet? So we decided. Or we decided to exercise. So we decided. Then I found out in medicine they have the same problem. It's called compliance. The doctor prescribes you the medicine and people don't take them. Or take them whenever. Oops, there is a problem of implementation. So I quit the university. I gave up my lifetime tenure position. And I realized there is nothing in the literature I can study, which means I have to create it from scratch. And that is the purpose of Adizese Institute. To develop, to improve, to perfect a methodology of how to manage change. How to make the right decisions, which means effective decisions, implemented efficiently. Which company is going to succeed? And we have a track record of being extremely successful. Please look at our website and look at the testimonials. So I'm not just selling a bill of goods. Companies that grew from $12 million to $4 billion, from 250 million to 15 billion. And they say, thanks to that, this is methodology. How? Making better decisions than the competition, implemented faster. That is the mission. To manage change. Now, how? The how is extremely important. You manage change if the organization has a culture of mutual trust and respect. then the diversity of opinions and knowledge working together can make a better decision. That's why you need mutual respect. And if there is commonality of interest, implementation is very fast. So we create system in the company, common mission and values, the right organization structure, the right process of decision making with the right people that command and grant respect. If you do all of this, now you have really a company where people accept each other's differences, learn from each other's differences, make a better decision, and they have a commonality of interest, and the implementation is swift. And I'm not talking just people. Trade unions and management working together, suppliers and the company working together. The maximum integration you can create, the faster is the implementation. So the mission of Adizese Institute is to continuously develop, nurture, improve, enrich a methodology that carries my name, the Adizese methodology, for managing change with creating and nurturing a culture in organizations that is based on mutual trust and respect by developing the right common mission and values, the right organizational structure that is diversified correctly, with the right people and the different styles that work together, and with the discipline of listening to each other and learning from each other without creating destructive conflict. That's it. And we try to apply it into the business world and to bring it to the business schools so they can train the next generation of leaders to manage better with collaborative leadership and not with autocratic leadership. Thank you. What has fundamentally changed because of the pandemic? The major difference that I see is as people are working from home, you don't have, as a manager, you don't have the control. What are they doing? Although a company called Upworks that I use for some editing I do, have a whole application software that I can click and find out whether the person editing is my material is working on my material, so they're not charging and they're playing golf. But that's very unique. You have to let the people work from home, and what do you have to do? Trust. The question of trust is under challenge because of the pandemic. Can you trust that they're working? And maybe you have to create now a different way of managing, not by process, that they're coming on time, leaving on time, and they're not fooling around when they're working, so you're watching them, what are they doing? But that you manage them by results. You tell what you expect from them for the money you pay them. So what you expect is worth more than what you're paying. You're getting your money's worth, and let them do it. Trust. Now it makes the people free. They might be working at night. They may be working, but they're producing the results, which is the same thing we do with CEOs. You don't expect CEO to be at 8:30 at work and cannot leave until 5:30. CEOs are free birds. They come, they go, you trust that they're producing the results. The pandemic is making, quote unquote, every employee a CEO in behavior. And that's a lot to ask from managers that are used to control, command and control, to trust and define the result they expect clearly enough so that they can get what they want. Big challenge on trust and big challenge on respect. How do I manage my employees? 5 key principles. Okay. I just wrote a blog, and I encourage everyone to subscribe to my blog, which I write every Friday. And this is about when to keep a secret. In the Institute, if X comes to me and tells me something about Y, he did this and this is wrong and that is wrong, and he asked me to keep it a secret, what he told me, I refuse. If he sent it to me by email, I immediately forward it to Mr. Y to know what X said about him. That gets X very upset with me. You cannot keep a secret. I say, I don't want to keep a secret. Because if you tell me in a secret, I have now to solve your problem with him without him knowing that it came from you. You go and solve it with him. If you don't have the courage, the openness to confront somebody who did something wrong and deal with that, why do you want me to deal with that? Because you have the authority. I cannot do it. Okay, I will do it, but I will say, some people feel that you're not doing the job correctly. So maybe he will tell me that this guy is wrong, that X is wrong. He didn't understand what actually happened. So I have to give him the information. Guys, transparency. In the darkness, all kind of dirty things grow. Sunshine cleans up. Sunshine, what is it called? Heals. Bring sunshine. Unless it is something very private, that making it public will not help. God forbid, Y has cancer. What benefit is it for me to make it public? He wants to keep it secret. It will be secret forever, because it doesn't help to make it transparent. Otherwise, transparency cleans the system. Sunshine cleans the system. Don't let secrets go around and rumors go around and everybody keeping a secret and attacking each other. It is toxic. Principle number 1, transparency. Principle number 2, follow the Adizese rules. What are the rules? All those rules that increase respect and trust. All these rules that prohibit mistrust and disrespect, like start on time meetings, end meetings on time. Don't interrupt somebody who is talking. Listen. Ask questions and understand the system, the situation, the problem before you judge it. People make a judgment before they know what the problem is, because they assume they know what it is. Don't assume. Don't assume. Whenever there is conflict, I tell people, put a question mark on a piece of paper to remind yourself, ask questions first. Ask questions first. Till you find what it is. And you will find, in many cases, you are glad you did not make a judgment. Because if you would have made a mistake. Because you assume things. You make decisions based on assumptions. So, follow the rules of mutual trust and respect. Principle number 3. Follow common sense. I find out that people that have too much education, they have solutions before they know what the problem is. Because they study too much. Common sense. What makes sense? How do you do that? Simplify the problem. Make it simple. People are afraid to make things simple because they feel if it is simple, it is too simple, it is not sophisticated enough. It is shallow. No. Simple is powerful. Don't try to make it camouflage, to make it very sophisticated because you get confused. Simple. Break it out to components. Simple. Number 4. Many people say, prove to me that I can trust you. Wrong. For me, wrong. I picked it up from religion. Some atheists say, I will believe in God if you prove me that God exists. And I say, you will never find him. Start with the assumption God exists. Assume. Now start to find him. You will find him everywhere. In a smile of a baby, in a tree, in a cloud, in everywhere. God is everywhere. Same thing here. I always start with trust. I trust you. Now don't disappoint me. If you disappoint me, I made a mistake. Because if I start with mistrust, prove to me that I trust you. Prove to me that I can trust you. You know something? You will never prove to me that I trust you, because I will always find something why I don't trust you. Take the chance. I trust you. Prove to me that I was not wrong. Give before you take. Next principle. The last one, fifth one. I like people that defeat me in my argument. Let's say I'm talking to somebody, Carlos, and I tell him, I think we should do this and that. He says, Dr. Adizese, may I respectfully disagree, and I will tell you why. I say, sure, tell me. And when he finishes, I say, wow, I was wrong. I love to be wrong. You know why? Because then I learned something. When they proved me wrong, I said, wow, I learned something new. You don't learn from agreements. If people agree with you, you don't learn anything. But if they disagree with you, it makes you think, and you realize, oh, where I was wrong. I learned something new. Then also, if they beat you in your argument, they prove you wrong, means they're smarter than you are. Wow, I love it. I want to be surrounded by people that are smarter than I am. These are my 5 principles. Transparency, rules of mutual trust and respect to be adhered to, common sense, rely on trust, and look for people that are smarter than you are and defeat you in your argument. Next question. There is a proverb, the higher you climb, the harder you fall. How to get up those that have fallen? How do you get them up? Well, let's talk about falling. Let's define what falling means. Falling is they made a decision and it was a mistake. Now they lost money. They lost the job. Whatever. Now they feel terrible. I made a mistake, and the higher I go, the bigger is the mistake I'm going to make. Oh my God. I'm no good. I made a bad decision. I am no good. I get depressed and I give up. Totally wrong. Tell you a story from my practice. I was sitting with a very rich, very successful Australian client of mine, having dinner. He got up to answer a phone call. He came back, and I saw a little bit, his face was a little bit concerned. So I said to him, Alan, what happened? He says, well, I just found out I lost $20 million. I made a mistake. I made a decision that cost him $20 million. And I looked at him and said, Alan, how does it feel to lose $20 million? And he said, I'm a lucky man, Ickhak. Lucky man to lose $20 million? Lucky man to make a mistake of $20 million? How can that be? He says, look at this. I look at the life this way. I enrolled in a course of life for which the tuition is $20 million. Now the question is, did I pass the exam of this course or did I fail the exam? I paid $20 million to take a course, and it failed. What did I learn from it? That's the question. If you learn from a $20 million mistake, that's an enormous learning. And he actually said, I'm a lucky man, Ickhak. I said, lucky man? How can it be? Because he says there are not too many people who can afford a $20 million tuition. I'm a lucky man. I can afford a $20 million course. And I learned a $20 million mistake. Now, if I repeat the mistake, I just wasted $20 million. The mistake is not the mistake you did. The mistake is they did not learn from the mistake. So every time you make a decision that did not work out, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what have I learned from it so I don't repeat it? And from mistake to mistake, you become stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. Some people ask me, Dr. Adizese, how come you have so many ideas and advice, etc.? I said, because I made a lot of mistakes. And I learn from them. Or I learn from mistakes of other people, and I see what they can learn from their mistakes. I'm constantly learning from mistakes I make or people make. That's how I become wiser and wiser and wiser and wiser. So when a person is fallen and depressed, tell him, take a deep breath. You are a lucky person because now you have an opportunity to learn. What did you learn from it? And now you are more experienced. You're a wiser person. Wow. Lucky you. Lucky you. Now don't look for mistakes to learn. That would be the wrong way to learn. But if you make a mistake, it was not a mistake. It is another reason why it was not a mistake. You made the best decision you could at that point in time with the knowledge and consciousness you had at that point in time. Now, when you look at it, now you have some information you did not have at that time. And now you say, with the new information I have, it was a mistake. Well, but you did not have this information then. So how could it have been a mistake? You did the best you could at that point in time. I did not do my best. Now what did you learn from it? That is your learning. Life is one university. Or make it a university. Learn from all your actions. Learn from all your mistakes. Make the best decision you can, and then if it turns out not to work out, you learn how to make a better decision next time. So you have not fallen for no reason. You have fallen to learn to walk. Like babies. If a baby is afraid to fall, it will never learn to walk. You need to fall in order to learn how to walk. If there was a choice, man or woman rule the world, who would I choose and why? When people in the Far East want to recognize each other, they do like this, right? When we pray, we do like this. I have an interpretation of what this means. One interpretation is humility, thankfulness, but why putting the two hands like this? Why don't you do like this humility or like this humility? Why this? Why this movement? Here's my interpretation. My symbol. Left hand is related to the right side of the brain. We know that from physiology. And right hand to the left brain. Right brain is where the creativity and feelings happens. Feeling and creativity. Unprogrammed decision making. And here is programmed decision making. Thinking and doing. Thinking and doing is very masculine. feeling, creativity is very feminine. You know what this is? Together. If you're only creative and feeling and never doing anything, I don't know what you are, some kind of a crazy artist with some starving. If you're only doing and not creating and feeling, you're a slave of what you're doing. What do we need? Masculine and feminine energy together, yin yang together. This is together. Men, women together. Not men, woman. Forget it, because some men are very feminine, some women are very masculine. You're talking about masculinity and femininity together. And by the way, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Look at whom you married. It's a complementary team. One of them is masculine and one of them is feminine. In the marriage, by the way. Outside of the marriage, it could be different. I find out a lot of masculine men outside of the marriage, in the political arena or in the business, they're very masculine. They come home, they become very feminine, and the wife is running them. My God, she is running the show. I've seen this with some country leaders that I consult to. Cherchez la femme is a woman that's driving it from behind. So masculine and feminine together. So when you're doing like this, what you're really saying is, God, keep me together. Me together. Because I have some masculinity, some femininity, by the way. We are not one or the other. Jungian psychology. We are both. Some stronger, some weaker. That's how we do it. Different situations, we are different. Keep me together, God. Keep me together. Now, in the Far East, when they sit down to meditate, they sit like this. What is this? This is masculine. Go here, do this, ta-ta-ta, command and control. What is this? Feminine. Making a hand out of 4 fingers. Making a home out of a house together. Feminine energy, masculine energy. What is this when you sit like this? Keep my family together. Keep me together. Keep my family together. And if you look at all the saints in churches, including the Hindu the religion, any of them, they stand like this. What do you see now? Different fingers together. Keep my country together. Keep my company together. Keep the world together. So in my prayer, I do like this. Together. Me, my family, my country, together. That's my prayer. So you're asking, is there man or woman? I say, together. How do I accept criticism when people criticize me? And do I work on the feedback that I got? As I told you, I welcome criticism because it makes me a better person. Why? Because I know that I'm not perfect. Far from it. But I can strive to be better. I will never be perfect. Never. Even God is not perfect because he brought the flood and then he said, I made a mistake. And he brings the rainbow to remind him to stop the flood because he made a mistake. So why am I to be more than God? By definition, I'm not perfect. But I strive to be better and better and better and better. How will I become better? By getting feedback. If I don't allow feedback, I will never be better. This is the arrogant people that believe they are perfect. Nobody can criticize them. God forbid you're married to somebody like this or have a boss like this. Wow. So I welcome criticism. But I check it whether it is, if it makes sense to me. Because sometimes I get criticized for something it does not feel right. I don't know why I'm getting criticized. I'm not learning from it. I did not do it the way you're describing it, which means it is their problem, not my problem. They are trying to get something off their chest. Maybe some jealousy. Maybe they have a problem that they are not overcoming, and they tell me that I'm not overcoming. So they're trying to solve their problem through me. In that case, I ignore it. I say, okay, I hear you. Thank you for your feedback, and I let go. I don't fight it back. The poor guy is striking. The poor person is struggling with his own problems. Why am I going to load on him? Good. Keep working on yourself. But if it makes sense for me, I say thank you. And I take care of it. I definitely take care of it. I try to improve. Sometimes I don't succeed. It takes me 3 times, 4 times, 5 times until I finally make the change. Because it's not easy to make the change. But I try. I honestly, truly try. How would you answer who is Ицхак Адизес? Oh, whoever asks this question should be shot. Why? It's the most difficult question. Very difficult question. You know, the biggest challenge is to know yourself. The biggest challenge is to know yourself. We know everybody else except ourselves. Because it takes 2 to know 1. You don't know yourself in a vacuum. You know who you are, how you look like, through a mirror. If there is no mirror in the house, you don't know how you look like. I know some old ladies, by the way, they have no mirrors in the whole house. They don't want to see how they got old. They don't want to see it. So they live in the image of how they looked like 20 years ago. So in order to know who I am, I have to find out how people see me. Then I know who I am. I believe from the feedback I get from people is that I'm very inquisitive mind. I'm constantly looking for what I can learn. And not learn just from books. Learn from anything, from stones. Going through the Grand Canyon, I realized that stones have ages. Old stones, new stones. I said, oh, wow, even stones have life cycles. Organizations have life cycles too then. And that's how my book, Organizational Life Cycles, was born. By looking at stones. Looking little baby. Why do little babies look at you? And they wait. Are they going to laugh or they're going to cry? Do you realize that? They have several minutes. They're looking at you to decide. Do I cry or do I laugh? What are they checking? If they can trust you. They feel you. Can I trust you? Do you love me or you are dangerous? And I said, I wish I was like a baby. Stop thinking. Feel the room. Feel the people. Can I trust them? So I learn from babies. I'm constantly learning. Constantly learning. And because of that, I'm constantly changing, which makes life quite difficult. Because any books that I write, later on I said, wrong. You have to rewrite it and to rewrite it. That's why the manuals of Adizes Institute, we cannot finalize the manuals. By the time we write them, we have to change them. And that drives people crazy because they cannot catch up with me. I cannot catch up with myself. The rate of change is too high. So I'm a person that is constantly learning and likes to share what he's learning. Not everybody likes it. My audience likes it. My children don't. They say, Daddy, stop preaching. Please stop teaching. Daddy, please stop. I think I'm a very fair person. I want to be treated fairly, and I treat other people fairly. I will feel terrible if I exploit people, if I catch them in their weakness and exploit their weakness. That's not me. I cannot live with it. I cannot live with it. I don't mind if I lose money. I had a client, by the way, I had stock options, and he gave me stock options because he didn't believe that I can do what I can do. And the stock went very high. Honest, true story. Trust me, true story. I will not lie for any reason. And then when the time came to be realized, it was $2 million. And he asked to have dinner with me. He says, Ickhak, when I signed the contract with you, I did not check with the board of directors. I didn't believe it can happen, so I said, what the hell? Let him feel good, and I signed it. Now if I go to the board of directors, I'll be fired. And guess what I said? Forget it. And I gave up on $2 million. I swear to in my children, I'm telling you the truth. Why? I didn't want the guy to lose his job because of my $2 million. He will suffer for many years because he got fired from a company for doing something wrong. I will not feel better. I will not be richer or poorer with $2 million or less. I never felt it. Be fair. Be honest. Integrity. Continuous learning. That's who I am. And I'm dedicated to the methodology. I'm dedicated to make the methodology the best in the world it can be. Because I see that we make a difference. We really change people's lives because they spend most of their life at work. So if you change the working environment, you change their life. And now they're applying Adizese, mutual trust and respect, to their families. And they tell me, my God, Ickhak, you saved my family life, you saved my marriage. My God. When I die, I know I left something behind. My life was not wasted. And that is very important to me. That's who I am.